What's the story on Manchester United and Baleba? What's happening between Manchester United and Baleba? Just quickly, guys, from my understanding, Baleba, 1 year ago, August 2025, was pushing like crazy to go to Man United. And Baleba had an agreement on personal terms with Man United. So he had his dream to become a Man United player. Then Man United couldn't proceed because Brighton didn't want to sell the player. He was a top target at that time with Amorim, and so nothing happened. Then, since January, when Amorim and Man United decided not to continue together, since that time, the track has gone cold for Baleba. Now the name is out there again. Why? Because my understanding is that those close to the player have been in contact again with Man United to suggest the possibility to return for Baleba. So it's from Baleba's side that they are trying to understand if Man United can return for the boy or not. After the Ederson deal off and after all the other developments, from Baleba's side, they want to understand if there is a chance to reopen conversations and negotiations with Man United. We know United are looking for a third midfielder. We know United want to make something happen for another defensive midfielder. So this is the plan, this is the idea, but we need to understand now if there is going to be a possibility for Baleba or any other option, because Man United are checking on the market which possibilities can become concrete in this summer transfer window. But Baleba is a name who was already high on the recruitment team list. The player is super keen about Man United. Now it depends on the club whether they want to proceed or not.
And with several different reports from different journalists, so we're going to be talking that link to Carlos Baleba again, more of an update on Manu Kone, Manchester United in for Danilo again, more reports on that one. Carlos Baleba again, that's what I want you to answer first of all this evening, and potential Manchester United touching base with Brighton again, and Man United potentially here being able to revisit the deal from last summer. Well, look, it came from Sky Sports earlier on from Dan Khan talking about Manchester United's midfield hunt. If you didn't catch up with the story from earlier on today, it was of Manu Kone and reports from Italy saying that Manchester United have agreed in principle personal terms for the French midfielder. Then when talking about this later on, other journalists have been speaking today. Ben Jacobs, Jamie Jackson has also been talking today, Dan Khan of Sky. It's like everybody's now playing full-on catch-up, doing their groundwork, digging in, trying to find out what's going on with Man United. We talked about United going for Kone earlier on today, and we did a video on it specifically talking about this could potentially be a smokescreen. Even this afternoon, we've had more people talking about Man United revisiting the opportunity to sign Aurelien Tchouameni from Real Madrid, and that one came out of the blue completely again.
First of all, I want to start off with Manu Kone. A lot of rumours about him being the priority for the third midfielder. What is the current update on him, and could we see a bid go in from Manchester United?
Yeah, it's possible, especially now the World Cup has finished. So Manu Kone has had an inquiry from Manchester United on the player side. No formal talks yet with Roma. Some of the numbers flying around, I think I've seen reports, for example, in Italy of 35, 40 million euros. They're on the low side, according to sources. So this is not necessarily the bargain deal that people are billing it as, but the profile is appreciated. Christopher Vivell has been involved in some early stage talks as well. And there's no doubt that he's on the list. But so, for example, is Camavinga. If the door is open to a departure, player at the moment wants to stay at Real Madrid. It's well known that Alex Scott is a target as well. I revealed only 48 hours ago that Chelsea have had a bid rejected for 64 million. So that informs both Bournemouth's position of not for sale, but also the kind of valuation if they are to change their mind. It's obviously got to be above that number, and significantly so. And then it's fair to say that Tyler Adams is one of several names on the list. This was a story that we broke on TalkSport in December last year. He's still there. I kind of want to stop there. Like, we can go into Tchouameni a little bit later. It was Adams, not Scott, for example, even though we're speaking about two specific targets from a list of several. Would that be seen as quite underwhelming amongst the fan base? Because if they go in for Scott and walk away with Adams, I'm not so sure that many Manchester United fans would be happy, even though I think he's a fantastic player.
Would you see that as underwhelming as an outsider looking into Manchester United?
As you say, there's the injury aspect, but he can break between the lines. He's a progressive passer, he's a ball winner, and maybe as importantly, if you don't just look at the football side, he's a top character. So I spent the summer with Tyler Adams, speaking to him regularly as part of the World Cup squad under Maurizio Pochettino, and you can see that he's just got this calmness on and off the field. He's very intelligent, he's a very direct player, he can win the ball back. And I suppose a lot will just depend on how Manchester United see the chemistry here, because remember, the expectation is that of the two deeper midfield spots, one is Kobbie Mainoo starting every week or in the big games anyway, and then it's a case of finding another. And you would think that Youri Tielemans, at least according to my information, is going to be a starting midfielder. Now, if it transpires that a marquee name, if we want to call it that, although clubs would argue every signing has the potential to be marquee, but if a kind of universally either expensive or globally impressive CV arrives, so then we're talking about players, I would say, in that bracket of Anderson, who they didn't get, or somebody like Tchouameni, who we can discuss in a moment, then obviously they become a starter as well. And one of the two that I've mentioned would have to go out of the side.
Manchester United would be able to bring Aurelien Tchouameni to Old Trafford from Real Madrid in the summer transfer window for just £68 million, according to a report. Earlier this month, transfer guru Fabrizio Romano reported that Tchouameni has agreed on a new deal with Madrid until 2031. Madrid, though, have not formally announced the new contract, leading to rumors that Man United could still be able to get a deal done for Tchouameni. On July 14, Man United reporter Andy Mitten said on Talk of the Devils, "It sounds like he is, but when I spoke to somebody in Madrid after he had signed the contract," let me just read the text back, "they could still sell him. So there you go. They could steal him. I will try to find out." So, the player has obviously done well out of this. This isn't the first time that this has happened, where a Real Madrid player has benefited from Manchester United's interest. Look, United were interested in him, as you would be, because he's very good. As I have said on this podcast several times, the player's perfectly happy in Madrid. If that situation changes, he would be perfectly happy to play for Manchester United. When I did some calls last week to Madrid, or actually it was the US because that's where the journalists are covering the Spanish national team, one of the points put to me was Real Madrid want to buy big, so they need to sell big. So, who do they sell who they can get big money for? Fede Valverde has been told that he's going to be captain. If you don't want to be, mate, you can come to Old Trafford as well. There's no issue there. Camavinga wouldn't bring in as much money. So that is a situation. So him signing a contract, I saw it sort of going off like a light. That's it, Manchester United won't be signing him. I wasn't quite so sure that you can write off any deal until the transfer window has closed. When asked if there was a chance, Mitten responded, "It looks improbable." I think it always looked improbable. I think the chance comes if Real Madrid decide that they want to sell one of their very best players because they need money, and money dictates a lot of things in football. On Thursday, The Sun claimed that Madrid are willing to sell Tchouameni to Man United in the summer transfer window. The report in the British publication stated that although new Madrid manager Jose Mourinho had planned on keeping Tchouameni, but Los Blancos are prepared to cash in for the right fee, The Sun has now revealed how much the right fee is, and it is just £68 million. The latest report has noted in its headline, Real Madrid willing to sell Aurelien Tchouameni to Man United in £68 million deal in order to fund ambitious Rodri transfer. The report has noted that Mourinho is ready to sell the France international defensive midfielder to Man United so that Los Blancos can fund a swoop for Manchester City and Spain international defensive midfielder Rodri, who is valued at £85 million. Thanks for watching.